Oh, this is fantastic lighting. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's just an intro. That and I've got a good excuse. Folks, of course, it's me, Scott, the broken part of Meet Us in the Man Cave. When I say broken, yes, I broke my big toe. It was about this time last week where my dumbass, laying in this couch, probably in this position, decided to roll over and kick his foot on a cast iron table that's, well, I'm sure you could see it. I don't know. The laptop's it. It's. Anyways, I wanted to do an intro on this particular podcast because it's kind of like a special edition. Not because I broke my toe. It's more or less a podcast that Chris is pretty excited about. And I feel like I at least owe him an explanation, even though he knows exactly what's going on here. He's not pushing me to get this out, but I figure, since I'm taking the doctor's orders and pretty much staying horizontal, keeping my foot up, I might as well go ahead and try taking advantage of, that is Riverside's editing program. Now, I'm sure if you've watched Chris and I before enough in the past, you've heard us mention a software program called Riverside.fm. It is a wonderful platform that you yourself, if you choose to do a podcast, video and audio, it's excellent. It's more of a professional service that you can use because you can record your video and your audio, and it goes to a cloud system from Riverside, which all is adapted into, let's put it this way, you could download it on your own computer, use your own editing programs, like I use Final Cut Pro and raw footage when it comes to video and audio. The quality is just great, up to 4K. And it's just something that Chris and I have been using about a year. And if you're like me, if you've got a tool that you enjoy, or if you have tools that are in your toolbox, and occasionally you get around to wanting to find out what more and more of these certain tools, what advantages do you have of using them or owning them? Well, with Riverside, I finally decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and take advantage of their editing system. Granted, it's not as advanced as, like, say, Final Cut or Premiere Pro, but it's a great tool, an editing software program that you could use for someone who's advanced, like myself, or someone who's just not familiar with editing videos at all. Let's just put it this way. If you could read, you can pretty much cut out the words or paragraphs or sentence, whatever it is. Very easy to use. Just cut that out and boom. It takes that part of the video out. You could even correct the spelling if you're going to use captions, which I decided to use in this particular podcast that you're about to see. Hopefully I didn't miss a few words that were misspelled, but you know what? Maybe you'll get a good laugh out of it. But yeah, I wanted to do this for Chris because I know he's pretty excited about it, even though he is not wanting me to rush to edit this because, guys, when I'm editing podcasts or any other videos in the past, I'm very strict, I'm very particular, I'm very anal, and I'm going to be sitting, on a computer desk chair for hours editing videos, and I'm in no position to be sitting down for the longest time, having blood rush to my foot, and then, of course, it'll just, I think you get the idea. So I figured I owed it to all of our viewers out there explaining why this podcast may look a little different. Now, if you're just someone who listens to it, it probably won't make that big of a deal at all, so that's a great thing. That, and who knows? Maybe I'll take advantage of using, Riverside.fm's editing program a little bit more, because it only took me about 10 minutes compared to hours. It's a lesson to learn. Stop being so picky, Scott. It's not like, well, you know what? Just help a broken man feel good about himself, and maybe subscribe, like, share on, of course, YouTube. You can follow us on Rumble, and of course, download, stream, whatever, on your favorite podcasting app. And of course, if you're fancying a dad hat, you know what to do. All that information on how to get this, where you can find us, is in the description box down below. And I'm going to shut the hell up because now my right arm is getting too tired of holding this phone. So hopefully you enjoy this special edition, an early release of a podcast. And if you're a big fan of hip hop and rap, well, I'm sure you're truly going to enjoy it. And maybe you learned something from Chris in this particular podcast. Me, the only thing I can share with you is don't fall asleep on a couch that you hate, especially when it's close to a coffee table made out of cast iron. You might, well, enough said. Enjoy. Warning. Following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only. And Dozer, I'm going to clap to 3, so don't freak out. What a great way. Folks, you're going to want to stick around to this particular podcast because we've got a lot of interesting stuff to share with you.
Sorry, I was listening to Drake just now, so I was.
He was listening to Drake. Chris, I don't know if you heard about this or not. Was there a shark scene removed from the original Halloween film? And what is at the appropriate age to tell the highway it's been adopted? Stick around. You're going to want to watch this podcast. It's going to get quite juicy.
I don't know what happened there. What did you do?
I wanted to come up with the teaser. So all that stuff, it will be, okay. Chris has got a lot of serious stuff to talk about. I'm going to jump in occasionally with my thoughts, my feelings, or my world. But before we do that, Chris, I need to help medicate my toe with, what the fuck are you drinking? What the fuck you drinking?
Are you going first?
Tell you what, let me adjust my camera. You already got something right before we started recording. If you wouldn't, that, not to mention you purchased something for the both of us. So if you wouldn't mind going first, while I get prepared.
It is nice and frosty. Let me clear some of this frost off real fast. But I had some glasses made for us. This is a wheat IPA glass, and I'm not sure if it's going to pick it up too well, but yes, folks, that would be a Meet Us in the Man Cave etched beer glass. Came out really well. I'm real happy with it, and very interesting design. Kind of egg-shaped. I don't know how you describe it.
Tell you what, let me grab another glass. Now that I think about what it reminds me of, here's a traditional beer. Well, it's Guinness, but see the shape here? We're used to seeing that shape, especially if you're going to have a pint at a pub. Guinness, right. This has got more, like you said, an egg and hourglass. So I love it. It's different. It is different, which I always enjoy something that's different. And I know that glare right now. I'm trying to do mine just right with the lighting.
It's real hard, right?
But it's okay. I could see it. You could see yours. And thank you once again. Now I have a coffee mug, which the more I think about it, I like the logo being outward. I don't know why, I just do. But this is better.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's supposed to be serving. What the fuck are you drinking, Chris?
So, I got a two-parter, actually. This is by Three Floyds. My mother actually bought me this. She's supporting my alcohol drinking, which is always nice.
Right in time for Mother's Day. Excellent job, Jennifer.
Man, I don't know how to say this, though. Is it? Wow.
Three Floyds.
Yeah, Three Floyds. Three Floyds is the company. I can't tell if that's a C or a. You know what? It's either Gimafan or maybe it's Chimerian. I'm going to go with Chimerian. Chimerian Sabertooth Berserker. Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Folks, we're going to get into some music big time on this particular podcast. As soon as you said that, for some reason, I started thinking Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. For some Scaramouche.
This I can't even read it. I can't even tell. I wish you could see the font that's on this thing. But anyways, it's a double India Pale Ale, which is an IPA, of course, and 9% by volume.
Mm,
I don't.
that's a big boy.
All it says on it is it's not normal.
While you're pouring, I'm changing the beer that I'm going to have on this particular podcast, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Ooh, that looks good in that glass.
Let me do the product placement correctly here.
It does.
Oh, damn, you can't see it. Damn it.
It does. The beer, the volume, everything about it. It looks like Chris looks like a professional taster. It makes you look seriously professional.
She is heavy. While we do that, I got a follow up here. Hang on a second here. I'm not.
Uh-oh.
You know, I'm real big on the Isla scotches. I ended up finding the Lafroig Select, which is kind of rare nowadays, I guess. So I ended up finding this in West Virginia. I'm gonna.
Makes sense because they only make so much. Whatever. In that case, they're only going to brew so many. So that's one of the reasons why sometimes the stuff is expensive.
Yeah, wasn't cheap, but I'm real big fan of Lafroig right now, man. I didn't think I was gonna be, considering my asthma and stuff like that. I pretty much as soon as I smell smoke, I'm off of it. But
yeah,
the smoke peat that they do in these Isla whiskeys is, I'm in love with it.
woo-hoo. And you a little bit more ice. I got some brandy snifters I need to give to you. Folks, you heard that here. You heard that first. I got some brandy snifters I need to bring over to Chris because I have them kind of stocked up, and all they're going to do is collect dust here, and that'd be perfect because he likes to sip on his Scotch whiskeys where it's neat, otherwise warm. And if he puts that in the palm of his hand as if it was a brandy, he can enjoy it with some sophistication and some style, and fuck, it tastes really good too at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, well, I pretty much knew that was going to be a hit, so that's fucking phenomenal. That's great. Okay, let's move on to this guy here.
Yeah, I'm curious.
This is a big glass. It doesn't look like it, but I mean, it's a 23 ouncer. Yes. There. Thank you, mother. That is very fucking good. Damn. Nothing really to comment on. It's just it's a gut check. It's right to the kisser. Just straight heavy beer.
In honor of Three Floyds, I was gonna, but you know what? I'll wait till the next episode.
All right.
Let's keep the Three Floyds going. I got this. In fact, I got it cold enough in time. It was the last 6-pack I bought today. Three Floyds. This is called Turbo Reaper. The way the art, I seen this artwork and I was like, this kind of is, well, I don't know if I want to say it now. You know what? Chris and I are going to eventually, possibly, not in this particular podcast, but we talked about album covers and some album covers that really capture our attention. And this reminds me of an album cover that I'm just going to go ahead and share now. Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. Beautiful cover. And I just thought of this. Now, enough of the artwork. Oh, it's 7% on the alcohol level scale. Of course, it is an IPA. And being a Floyd Rose, I know they are one of the partners, if I remember correctly, with War Pigs.
Oh, awesome. Probably the best beer of 2024 so far.
Which is out of Indiana. Munster, Indiana. I always want to say Minster because of Minster up north here.
Now, real fast, can we just talk about fucking Three Floyds and their fucking marketing department? What are they doing with naming these fucking beers?
I don't know, but the name, I'm loving the artwork and the name on this alone. 7%. Now, let's see.
Golly, looks like fucking Conan on the front.
You what is the this is your standard 12-ounce can, so I could have had 2 of these and they're not a big deal.
Yeah, she's a 16.
Okay. Chris, I think just from smelling this, I'm going, okay. If we remember, folks, when Chris talks about he doesn't particularly like his IPAs all clean, he likes it unfiltered. This doesn't smell like it's filtered very well, so there you go.
Hey,
That sounded kind of like I was putting it down. No, I'm not.
Not to me. Not to me.
It's got a lot of going on in here. Oh, damn.
Wow. It kind of looks similar, don't they?
This has got an orange citrus thing going on here with a little bit of a. This is it's tangy, crisp.
Ooh,
a little bit, a hint of some cherry to it, just a little bit, or a raspberry. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe a summer beer.
You know what? I'm going to have to make sure I save at least a couple in case we never see this fucker again, if you know what I mean.
It's the going trend, isn't it?
In other
Anything
words,
we start liking fucking goes away.
Yep. Save a couple, at least to take a road trip up to Laura's and say, well, let me know what you think, because you'll probably never have it again, if you know what I mean. So 3 Floyds are kicking ass right now on this podcast. That's for sure from what it sounds like.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Turbo Reaper.
Whoever the fuck's naming these, I need to talk to you. I need to have a little sit down and figure out what the fuck you're smoking.
Need to tag 3 Floyds more often in these podcasts, if you know what I mean, Chris. Maybe they would allow us to do a little tour with a little type of video pot. Oh wow, that's just asking way too much right now.
Yeah. You guys have been watching too much Lord of the Rings, I think. It's time to calm down.
Well, but we were recorded so close to May 4th. Shouldn't it? I haven't made the 4th be with you.
Fourth be with you. Yes.
You know what? I'm going to screw this dates up. You know, we've enjoyed our 3 Floyds. We've enjoyed our, I'm doing some basic Jameson right here. And actually, it's the black barrel that I had from the last podcast. I really liked it. So,
this is like not your traditional Lefroy at all. I didn't really talk about it, but you don't get much of the peat smoke with it. It's fucking, but it's on the palate. I don't understand.
I'm not going to give away too much information where Chris lives, but he's in a location where it's almost a perfect place to start his own brewery out there.
Sounds like an invitation, sir. Yeah. I think we should do it.
We'll never get MCM going if we go that direction. That's what the upstairs for, huh? I could just hear now, because I'm always throwing out names, but I'll just say there's certain people that we know that would be taking a road trip to Ohio. Like, so let's check what this is all about. You say you're making masks, but I don't think so.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, the advice would be don't make it upstairs because you got to go down after doing a few taste tests. All right.
Oh, Lord. So that's what the fuck we're drinking.
Yeah. What the fuck we're drinking.
Should we take it to what the fuck are we listening to?
You know what? I'm going to hand this over to you, sir. You are very excited about some things that are going on in your music world. And I'm just going to ad-lib off of that. So this is where I get to sit back and try my best to shut the fuck up. And I'll try.
What the fuck has happened in the last week? I mean, I don't know how many of our listeners listen to, say, Drake or, possibly Kendrick. I don't know how many hip hop listeners we have actually listening to us talk at the same time. But over the last week, these two have created probably one of the greatest. I think we're in the middle of the greatest hip hop beef / battle that has ever in history that has ever taken place. I mean, these men are systematically like destroying each other one by one. And controversial topic, but man, I think Kendrick is just tearing this man apart right now. It's so growing up the way I did. I mean, I've always been into hip hop. I mean, I'm sure our fans, I don't know how well they are aware, but I've talked about, I did b-boying before that. I've always listened to hip hop growing up. I mean, there's hip hop, then there's rap. I mean, I feel like we've gotten a lot of rap lately, but we haven't gotten any actual hip hop. If you put hip hop into the battle form, it's essentially, a boxing match. It's two men going at each other and they're landing body shots, they're landing left hooks, I mean, the punchlines and everything they're throwing at it. Some of these Kendrick tracks have been like genius, like diabolical. This man's like, he's a maniac. It's fucking unreal what he's doing with Euphoria and all these other tracks that he's released. Have you seen any of it, Scott?
No, Chris, can I ask a question and I hope that it doesn't go off track?
Absolutely.
What you're talking about here, and my knowledge on it is, blank, but I can't help but think of, I don't want to use age because, okay, back in the 90s, we had the whole East Coast and West Coast thing, when it came to rap, hip hop. Is it anything similar to that of what's going on?
Funny you mentioned, because Kendrick is West Coast. He's LA. He's really Compton, if you want to put it back into logistics. But
straight out of Compton.
Yeah. Drake's Canadian.
We have Canadian brothers in the mask hobby, so there we go.
This is true. Okay. Tread carefully here, because I don't want to. Hip hop is it's. We could break it down so many different ways. Its birthday is 1973.
Whose birthday again? I'm sorry.
Hip hop, just where it came from.
Oh, gotcha.
Its originalities. I mean,
I'm sorry. I thought you were speaking of an individual.
Come from New York. We know that, so he doesn't have the exact validity that someone like Kendrick has, being from America. So he's played on he's thrown a couple punchlines at him as far as that's concerned, and they've landed and kind of stung. But this latest, man, they're kind of breaking it down into the family aspect. And a lot of the stuff you're talking about right now, as far as like, if you were to take it back to East Coast versus West Coast, I mean, if you listen to Hit 'Em Up, Tupac, I mean, that was a scathing track that he put out against Biggie. It's almost to those terms. They're like right there. I mean, it's bad. They're like, they are at each other's throats. He just, I mean, Kendrick released pretty much a bar that kind of invited Drake into the discussion again, because it's always been a kind of a rivalry between the top three, which the top three right now are considered J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick. And Kendrick pretty much came out in a track called Like That. And he pretty much just said, fuck the big three, it's just Big Me. And that kind of introduced Drake into it. It introduced Cole into it. J. Cole came back with his whole he came with his diss track, and then he retracted it. He went on stage and he said, I apologize, I'm going to delete this. However people want to feel about that is whatever. Drake essentially took it to another level. Drake said, I'm all in. I'm going in on this dude right now. So he released his diss track. Kendrick fired back, and then, a little bit of smoke cleared. After that, most recently, Drake released another diss track by the name of Family Values. Yeah, Family Values. And Kendrick, within 1 hour, had already released another diss track by the name of Meet the Grams. Meet the Grams was the name of it. And essentially what that's doing is Drake's real name, his legal name is Aubrey Graham. And he's Kendrick has come back and he's addressed letters. He has 4 verses on the track. And he's addressed letters to his son, his mother / father, his daughter, and then a letter to himself, to Aubrey Drake personally. And that's the latest that has happened. And I swear to God, he tore that man apart in that. That's probably the worst diss track. I thought Euphoria was the worst diss track that I had heard. And then he released another one after that called 616 in LA, which has a whole bunch of hidden meanings behind it. But man, this newest one that he released is just bad. They are full on war.
Hold on. Let me see something here real quick. I know 818 is the area code. Hey, Siri. What is the 616 area code?
Oh.
No, that's not what I asked. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, so 616 has been broken down into a whole bunch of things. June 16th is the Father's Day in Canada, and Drake is known for leaving a couple of his kids. Oh yeah, it gets broken down into several different things, and he's dragging this man across the concrete right now. I do like Kendrick, but you know, Drake, he can rap too. I can't take anything away from him. But right now, I feel like these two, like rap and hip hop, have gone through such a dry spell with all these like little rappers coming up. I feel like these two, within the last week, have like revitalized rap and brought back hip hop to this like it's like its purest form. I think they're like resetting hip hop right now. That's how like astronomical what they're doing right now. I think it's phenomenal.
You know, everybody is going to have their opinion, of course, on shit. Everybody's gonna have their opinion on sliced bread. It's just how it is. So I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are listening to you, that are following, exactly what's trending here. And as an outsider or even an insider, people could use, the news that's been going on, I want to say the past month, when it comes to Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy. I'm sorry. I just still want to say, anybody that's going to have a name P. Diddy, I'm old school. I just want to say you deserve to be slapped with a nickname like that. But I just offended 50 people out there. So that shit stirs the pot. Now this comes along. You want to, let's face it, people want to separate themselves from his bullshit. That's obvious.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to have individuals that are just average hitters, average listeners, or just your top 20 or top whatever, rap, pop, hip hop. They're going to probably blend that together. It's obvious it's like going to be like this because he's a bad representative. I don't know. I can't help but think of that. But
because what is happening right now is like a Mike Tyson match. It's like it's a heavyweight bout right now. It's so entertaining right now. I mean, they're trading body blows just back and forth. It's what hip hop was. It's what hip hop is a sport. It's created to be a sport. It's punchlines. There's a reason they're called punchlines. And punches. You're supposed to be defaming the other character. You're supposed to systematically break down the other character. That's who you're battling against.
And in all reality too, Chris, it's obviously in the music industry. And one thing, like the music industry, history does tend to repeat itself. I've been thinking of what you're saying, and I can't help but think about history in the music industry, not just in hip hop and rap, but rock and roll. There's been battles with that shit when I was a little boy.
Sure.
There was issues, even though it doesn't seem like it, but one time there was almost an issue when it came to British rock and of course rock and roll over in the US. They thought it was going to be an art, but it really wasn't, because I'll tell you what, from what I understand from what my uncle told me, one of the reasons why I hear people in the US were getting a little upset about British is because people over there, like say Led Zeppelin, for an example, or Black Sabbath, they absolutely loved blues here in the United States, Southern blues. They were fascinated with it. And for some reason, some immature individuals in the rock and roll, when it was getting a little bit more hardcore, they were getting pissed off at these Brits because they said that you're stealing it. No, they weren't stealing it. They were fascinated with it. They loved it. They appreciated it. Thankfully, that got cleared,
Right.
or that could have been a big battle, which is so ridiculous. Now,
Right.
I appreciate the passion that these guys are putting into it, because today's industry, anybody who's been in the industry, music industry, they'll tell you you are going to have to be somebody extremely special to make it in this field, because they're not making the money like they used to. YouTube, you have to get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of views to even make any money on there if you're obviously a partner with YouTube.
Right.
The shares that individuals get for people streaming is pennies on the dollar compared to what it used to be when people were buying physical. This is kind of like going back to where we've talked about before the past, but physical media, even with hip hop and rap artists, if people are buying their physical media, oh my God.
So here's what I'm at, where I'm at with that. Hip hop was created to be, it was essentially like people wanted to take control of the power. It was the whole fact of there was never a reporter that was coming out to South Central, Bronx, LA, any of
If I
these
remember,
areas.
wasn't it underground?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you take it back to, the 70s, 1973, whenever you want to go with Africa Bambaataa and Grandmaster Flash. I mean, I've had sit downs with KRS-One in the heart
Oh
of
God, I know.
downtown Dayton. I mean, it's been a fascinating topic, but at the heart of hip hop, what happened was there was no reporters coming down there to tell you who was shot last night, who got robbed last night. There was none of this. They had no way to get their story out to the world. So what it became was, okay, we're going to use these break beats, we're going to use these loops, we're going to spin it on a DJ record, and we're going to make it loop over and over, and then we're going to create bars, and we're going to tell our story within those bars. And they were telling their story, and it was their outlet. But now we've come to a point in hip hop where things are kind of easier, you know? Recording is more available. It's
You could do
easier. Kids don't
you
have to
could do it
go through
right
the
there.
same. What's that?
You can record right there off of your own computer. Hell, I can.
Absolutely.
I
It's readily
I can
available.
hook up my amplifier to my computer and write a song right now. It would be scary, but I could.
So there's not as much. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like hip hop started as an outlet to get exposure, to get their story out. What story do we have to tell anymore? So that's kind of like where I feel like the low point in hip hop has been recently. We've not had anything where somebody's gotten on a mic and been like, I have a story to tell. Even, I mean, if you take Andre 3000, they call him, whatever you want to
Yeah, I
call
know
him,
you're talking about.
Free Stacks, whoever you want to call him, one half of Outcast, whatever the hell you want to call him. He literally said, "What do I got to rap about? Everybody wants me to make a rap record what do I got to rap about? My life is good right now. I got nothing to rap about. I got no problems. And then you start thinking about it, and you're like, half the music that we love came from people's adversities, people's growing up in life and facing problems. That's where half, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say half of the music that we love was created from problems.
Hmm.
People have
Oh yeah,
problems, they
that's
sit down and they write. That's musicians, right? So
hence
that's
'90s grunge.
I
Grunge.
think
That
that's
was
why we
yeah.
got I think that's why we got such a low point in hip hop lately. And all I can say is I am grateful to be alive with these two artists that are creating this much of a entertaining time right now because I'm fucking loving it. It's fucking great music.
It, I'm going to be careful on because I know sometimes I could start thinking about something and I go off on a different end. Because you know what you're saying there. I mean, you think about all. I don't want to say you. Well, you can't help but say like one hit wonders. You know, where they've had some meaningful songs that they wrote, and then they just I don't know. They just had if they wrote that song, or let's say they wrote three great songs, maybe their life had changed in that's three songs, and they went out on tour with it. They played other songs in bigger arenas. And like you said, maybe their life had changed and they didn't have that same,
Oh,
life changes. Yeah.
you mean in general?
Yeah. In general.
Okay.
I mean, it could happen to anyone out there, whether it is in rap,
Yeah.
country,
I mean,
rock. It can.
yeah,
It doesn't
Andre
matter.
3000, I mean, he came out and he was like, "What am I gonna rap about? Am I gonna rap about, like, cashing in my 401k and changing diapers? Like, what am I gonna rap about? My
Why the
life
fuck?
is good right now. I got no problems."
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that
you'd
makes
have
so
to.
much fucking sense.
Now, ironically, as Chris talked to, as we were like, okay, here we sit down here in our man caves near our beers. All right, we want to naturally come up with a topic at hand. I spitball some ideas. He spits, but he's really excited, passionate about what he's talking about here. And I'm just like, well, I can't relate to, in other words, I'm not in the same spin. I haven't been listening or reading the same articles or watching or whatever, because ironically, I'm going back in time because I'm learning to play an instrument more. In other words, I'm focusing more on learning how to play that guitar than I ever did before. So I'm going back to listen to 70s, 80s, and 90s. So when Chris was asking me, have you heard anything about this? No, because right now I got to do the one song that you're not allowed to play in a guitar store, "Smoke on the Water." So I'm living in yesterday's world.
And that's why I'm so, like, I love it all. I love all the music. I mean, just give me it, I will take it and I will absorb it. I'm like a sponge with that shit. This thing, I haven't felt like this since, you know, DMX era about hip hop. Like, it's fucking, oh man, it's exciting right now. These guys, if you like analyze their punchlines and what they're throwing at each other and all the like ways that Kendrick is like strategically just like poking holes in this guy. And Drake has been on top of the rap world for probably 15 years now. So he's kind of like, it's kind of like I don't know, lack of a
Outdated
better
already.
not lack of a better term, like it's kind of like Thanos in Endgame, Avengers Endgame.
Mhm.
I mean,
That was the last decent Marvel movie.
Drake's on the top, he's like 1 second from snapping his finger. And then you got Kendrick coming in and I feel like Kendrick is like Iron Man right now. He's just running through the ranks right now and and Kendrick's he's so fucking good. I mean, I'm in love with his lyricism and how he writes shit. His double entendres, his triple entendres, like he's just, man, you got to like seriously sit there and pick apart everything he's saying in order to make it make sense in your brain. He's fucking genius.
See, it's stuff like this. Anybody who's listening, and I don't care how young or old you are, this is what makes, let's say, a band. Chris is let's say, more of a lyricist, and he goes down that path, and enjoys the passion and the reasons why the story's being told, whether it's a poem or it's really all the it's poetry in a sense.
Yes.
I go down a path of chasing tones, sounds. I've always been that way. That's probably why I fell in love with Edward back when I was a little kid. Why I was really intrigued by all that stuff. It wasn't the words, it was the music. I get so fascinated with there's certain bands that with it really has a lot to do with producers and engineers too, but I won't go down there. But there's just something about it that just makes the 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 hair on my arms, like you talking about with DMX, how you're starting, it's bringing back certain memories like you have with DMX. I've been listening to Van Halen in ways like I hadn't listened to in a long time because I'm trying to actually learn one song right now, and I start listening to certain tracks, and it's like I'm going into like daydreaming while I'm driving, and I shouldn't do that. And man, it feels good. This is when you know you love music, when you get lost in that world and nothing else around you matters. It doesn't matter if it's hip hop, rap, country. I'll even say today's pop.
God. That's how I feel. Like everything else, like even work, everything else has been dumbed down. I've just been waiting for these guys to release tracks. It's absurd. Like I've not been this excited for years. I hope it keeps going, because all this is doing is showing all those other little rappers that have been getting millions here, there, and wherever. It's showing these little rappers, this is how you rap. This
the old school,
This is how you do it. This is how you land body punches. This is how you do a battle. Nobody's afraid to. I mean, nobody wants to battle anymore. Everybody's afraid to battle. There's no battles. Everybody just wants to get out there and make their money. There's no any of it anymore. Hip hop is at its core, it is like competition. If you're not competing, you don't deserve a fucking award. That's my thoughts. I don't know how everybody else feels, but yes, that is you must have some sort of competition. You must be indirect competition with someone.
It's even if you're not someone who, I mean, if you're a fan of music, you could tell what's going on even in that. Like I could tell what these kids have been doing. They have, in a sense, in fact, it wasn't that long ago. I was laughing my ass off because I seen something. I think it was Snoop Dogg. He was saying that ain't rap because he was hearing some of these kids. Yeah. He's like, he couldn't relate to it because it's not. You don't even know.
He said they sound like, I don't know if Future started that or like Migos started that, but they also like
yeah.
They all follow the same cadence in the same flow and the same staccatos. And
when did tone deaf? Yes. Yeah, when did tone deaf become a thing for these guys?
I don't know.
Seriously, it's like you'll hear these. There's been it happens with every culture. Like I want to say in the 2010s or whatever, these pop artists, they would have their recordings where they would kill their choruses where the words a word being repeated. It could be a word, it could be beer, 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 beer. And it's like, oh my God, this just shows you can't come up with anything more creative than that.
That's why I love when I see something like this. This is like a fucking shining beacon to me right now that says that the old ways are not lost. Like this is like saying these two know what it's about and they're fucking going at it right now and showing everybody else. It gives me hope.
Well,
out of this, I feel like we could get some good records.
It could,
if they show them how to fucking rap.
It could inspire. I said earlier, history tends to repeat itself, and maybe this will bring some culture back to it, and it'll bring back the whole meaning. In other words, it's poetry, folks. That's really what it is. It's poetry.
100%.
Bring it back. Bring back some. It does. Like I said, I keep on. I feel like I'm going in circles. It's creating something special. It's something powerful. Creating a song, because it's a song, because let's face it, it's on a radio, so therefore it's a song, it's a melody, Have some meaning behind it. Tell a story. I mean, dear Lord, here you go. Okay, Chris, here you go. Here's your original, I want to say, old school rapper, gangster hip hop, Johnny Cash.
Oh, Man in Black. You can't be Man in Black. He's a fucking legend.
So if you think I'm joking around, Johnny Cash, there's some old school roots right there for you. There's some poetry right there that you could definitely. Oh man, I was hearing that song. I just heard the one with
I hear the train coming.
even the last one he did with Trent Reznor. Oh my God, it just brings chills down your spine. It's actually a Trent Reznor song, but Johnny Cash is singing it. I'm butchering it because I'm blanking on the name. As usual, gee, that's a shock. Believe it or not, folks, when I'm not doing a podcast, I do this all day long. I could be literally in the bathroom, reading, and a thought could come to my mind. I'm like, what was that called again? See, I'm good at it. No matter what.
Well, this kind of went, I got passionate about stuff, but initially we were going to come in and we were going to try to make a music focused episode, and we were going to talk about album covers, vinyl covers, right?
Yeah. Someday.
Oh, you want to take it into that?
I say, how about we do that on our next episode? Leave him hanging. Leave him hanging.
I don't know if I can invite this moth to come with me next time.
I say we do album covers on our next episode. Chris, thank you for having this idea. Thank you for sharing something that you're passionate about. Not that you're not passionate about the other things.
I just Kendrick Lamar, that fucker.
Yeah.
I just killed him.
This podcast is basically what's been going on generally with us. We're not typically this just in, did it, or MTV News. God, I miss MTV News. Oh, I miss MTV News.
I miss TRL.
TRL, yeah. Hell, VH1 Classics. Fuck. But, this was something that's going on in Chris's world right now. He's passionate about it. And I'm quite sure if you do listen to our podcast, if that's a genre of music that you have been following too, please, by all means, hit up Chris on the comment section down. Well, he's going to respond to you, obviously, because he knows more about it. Or get on Discord. Talk to Chris about this on Discord. The links are always in the description box. Dear Lord. I know we say this constantly, but that's a good avenue. You could do the email thing. Because you could be just as passionate about this or know something that Chris hasn't talked about. You guys can connect that way. Hell, even Chris's Instagram links, it's down there. So there you go. I'm not saying don't talk to me.
You guys want to break down some bars? I'm here, man. Let's break down some fucking bars. That'd be fucking phenomenal right now.
No, not bars. I'm just working on chords right now. Please.
I'm about the bars, man.
Oh, the bars? Oh, yeah. Speaking of bars, I'll have to show you in the latest update on my the bar downstairs. Literally, it's had a major update. So, well, yeah, it looks more appropriate for my style right now. Yeah, it does. Well, Chris, I think you knocked this one out of the park. And if there's any more, updates, if there's anything more trending about what you've been talking about here, please, by all means, you can hit it all up at another discussion as we meet each other down in the man caves once again. And of course, follow us here or subscribe to us. I know I'm supposed to say that earlier, but I can't stand that when somebody like, hi, my name's Bobby. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. What is your fucking channel about?
Yeah, that's pretty much like putting a trailer out and saying, please come see the movie. Come see the movie. Come see the movie. Come see the movie.
But we've given you enough podcasts right now, so please fucking subscribe. Tickle that button. It smells pretty and it's free. And of course, follow us over at Rumble, where I've been kind of lazy on not uploading the last couple. I'll get caught up. And if you cruise a lot to West Virginia like Chris, or to Columbus, Ohio, or Cincinnati, or anywhere else in this great nation of ours, you can listen to us on your favorite podcasting app like I do. Yes, I listen to our own voices on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you could find your favorite podcasting app. Isn't that right, Toby? That's an old school BHA commercial. Nobody's going to get that. Maybe, you know what? I'll hit that fucking button.
Yeah, just fuck it.
Chris and I would like to thank you for watching or listening to Meet Us in the Man Cave. Since you enjoyed watching us, make sure that you tell all your friends and family to subscribe to Meet Us in the Man Cave here on YouTube. Make sure you click on that notification bell. That way you're notified on our next video podcast or live stream video. Better yet, if you appreciate freedom of speech and oppose of censorship for content creators, make sure you follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Rumble. Are you on Discord? Well, Meet Us in the Man Cave's there. Come and hang out with us. You can find and follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. And as always, you can listen and download Meet Us in the Man Cave on your favorite podcasting app. Available to stream or download so you can listen all you want, whenever you want. For more information, go to meetusinthemancave.podbean.com.